We have Audra Edwards here, and she's going to try to explain, and if she can, she's going to let the guys explain what they're going to speak about. Audra?
Okay. Hi, thank you so much for the invitation to come today and speak with you guys. I just want to talk a little bit about the kids first, because they're going to tell you about their project. These boys are just outstanding young men. Let me just say this, beyond the research that they're doing right now, they're just really good kids. They make good choices, good decisions, and I'm so proud of the life that they lead outside of school and in school. And anyways, as they speak, I just want you to know that when you're listening to them, that they represent the best of Harmony. They are on the praise team at church. They serve at their church. They all have, well, they have very high academics. Isaac has, I think, a 97.7 average right now in school as a sophomore, and in dual credit classes. And anyways, they're just really great kids. They do this project outside of school. It is done on holidays and weekends. It's not something that they're doing in school. They don't have time because they're all involved in one-act play and all sports and all kinds of things like that. And so this is just whenever they find time, which is hard to find time sometimes, but they put in extra time away from school to do this. And so I'm super proud of them. And anyways, I want to tell you a little bit about the kids who've gone through this program. It's called the GLOW program. And a couple of the kids that have graduated, I mean, I could talk about multiple kids, but I'm going to just tell you about two real quick. I have one young lady that just got the Terry Foundation Award and is at Texas A&M on fluoride. I have another young lady who just got an internship with NASA, and she'll be working with NASA for the next 3 years. And so the benefits that this program has for these kids is it just sets them apart from other students. And so it's an amazing opportunity, and I'm going to let you take it from here. So just introduce yourself.
I'm Audra Edwards. I'm Matthew Scott. I'm Shane Sewell. And actually, several all sophomores from Harmony High School. How do we pull up the presentation?
Oh, Pete.
I don't know. All right. So
microphone too.
Oh, sorry about that.
yeah, we didn't expect it to be like this. All right. So we are all members of the Harmony Globe Club, and I imagine all of y'all know where Harmony is, but just to prove, we got the red Harmony socks on. They're very fashionable. And so basically, we all live in East Texas, obviously, and living in East Texas, we all live with a wonderful diversity of like vegetation and just a beautiful world around us with a lot of wildlife that's literally everywhere. Hopefully not the roads, but it's there too sometimes. We all three live in Holly Lake, and as you know, Holly Lake is a resort town, and it has like some lakes, and we don't necessarily live on a lake, but we live very close, and we're very in touch with the water ecosystems, and we feel like it's very interconnected with our life. And so when we set out to make a research project, we decided that we wanted to have something including the waters of the area. And so we did GLOW protocols. And so GLOW is the Global Learning and Observations for the Betterment of the Environment program. It's funded by NASA and the National Science Foundation. And basically, GLOW protocols are the types of tests that you can do, ranging in each field. There's hydrology, there's soil, there's atmosphere research, and you can just go all over. They also have satellites that you can check and stuff like that. But GLOW protocol is basically the random tests that you can do that will help you in your specific field. So we did hydrology research, and we did anything from nitrates to dissolved oxygen, just trying to find any kind of correlation between something significant in the waters. And so the first thing that really caught our eye and we thought was really good for our project was fecal coliform. And Shane will explain to you what fecal coliform is. You have a minute.
Well, basically, fecal coliform is the bacteria found in the digestive tract of all animals, which, when it gets in the water, is terrible because it can make humans and animals that drink the water sick. And with all the wildlife in our area, such as the cattle and the deer and all, it's a big problem in our area.
And so basically, I don't actually. Are you okay if I just not use the mic and just speak really loud? All right. Okay. And so fecal coliform is it's what we use to trace any kind of fecal matter from animals in the water. And obviously, you don't want to drink poop water because that's bad. And so our project is basically about waterborne diseases and how the water can be contaminated by anything like that. But you have to first know kind of like what sort of historical question, like how can you get such diseases? Like why is it significant? You know, you always hear, okay, what's so bad about this disease and blah blah blah. Well, basically, these specific types of diseases that come from fecal matter and stuff like that turn into plagues. And so Matthew is here to explain a little bit of a historical question, which was, you always hear about how the Native Americans were ravaged by the diseases from the Europeans that were brought over and everything like that. So the question that was posed is, why do we never hear of some kind of like new plague that was brought over from the Native Americans to the Europeans, killing the Europeans and millions upon millions, just like it did with the Native Americans? Well, Matt is here to explain that.
Well, what we thought was, how does a plague, what factors will create a plague? And back in this time, all the Europeans lived in big cities all together. You know, the sanitation was bad. They had meat markets and everything. There was always animals roaming the streets. And so it was all mixed together. Really bad disease is a prone place for a disease. Whereas the Native Americans, they lived off the land. So they would be in small groups and they would be very nomadic. They'd move from place to place once the land, you know, they couldn't use it anymore. So the difference was, they're always in one spot. They have all these key factors to make these plagues come out, and they can spread easily because of the lack of sanitation. They had a whole bunch of domesticated animals that they used every day. They were in touch. So the Native Americans only had one domesticated animal at the time, which was the llama. So they didn't have these factors like the Europeans did. And that's why when the Europeans came over, they had always been around these diseases, and the Native Americans had built no immunity to these diseases. They just ran and got everybody, and everyone was sick, and it was bad.
And so you may say, okay, well, what does that have to do with our project today? We're not doing a project about 250 years in the past. Well, if you look at this picture, and from pictures I've actually seen from when my mother went to India, it actually looks a lot alike what it looks like in India. Because in India, there are very poor living conditions. There is a very low poverty rate. There's no sanitation. People don't really believe in like bathrooms where you go to the restroom, you wash your hands, you do everything like that. They don't have those basic commodities that we do, and they live with animals every part of their life. There are cows roaming the streets, there are more dogs in Mumbai than there are people, and it is crazy. So we began to ask, well, okay, what kind of places in the world today have those key factors? Where are there risk places to have a new plague develop? And with it being of such high population and having low sanitation, it could certainly affect not only them, but eventually with how interconnected we are in our world, affect us. So this is a very, very important issue. And basically we did tests in our area because we wanted to make sure that we weren't a risk factor. And Matthew is here to tell a wonderful story about one of the tests we did, and I'm sure you can kind of tell what happened.
So we went to this creek down by a water treatment plant in Tyler.
Tyler, yeah.
And we were going, and we have these little paddles we dip in the water to get our research from. So we split up into pairs, and me and Shane go down, so away from everybody, to test a different part so we can spread our data out. And this creek is like, you have the bank and it's straight into the water. There's no any kind of thing you can grab, you just have to lean over and get it. So we're walking through and we find a good spot, and there's a horse in the middle of the woods. We had no clue what was going on. There's this horse. So I'm worried about the horse because I'm small, I'm scared of big animals that can hurt me. So, you know, I'm like, okay, I gotta be careful about the horse. So I'm like, Shane, be the lookout, just in case. So it comes back. So I lean over, and there's nothing. There's a big tree right there. And I hear Shane, he's like, Matthew, and I look back and I slip right in and go neck deep because there's nothing to brace or anything to grab. So I go straight down, and then we spend 5 minutes trying to pull ourselves up, and I walk back. And this site had been the worst the most contaminated place because it was down, so I smelled horrible on the ride back home.
Yeah, it was not fun. But so when we test, we have some wonderful times like that, and some not so wonderful times for Matthew. But basically, we do a lot of testing that can be kind of dangerous and like that. The spot where he was testing was the water treatment plant. It was like not even half a mile downstream, and it had one of the worst test results we had seen ever. And so we had him wash off the water hose, because that's good. And so last May, I believe, we were invited to the regional science symposium that GLOW puts on, and we presented at the University of Colorado Metropolitan, and we won the best overall research project, which was really awesome, and we got this little glass trophy, and then we got some medals, and you can see us there. The great thing about the GLOW conferences is that we get to present to scientists, we get to present to people from all over the United States, and when you go to the national ones, you get to present to people from all over the world. And so we got to do some hands-on research at one of their labs in the University of Colorado, and we got to learn some really cool things from some of the scientists there. We also took some personal time, and we got to see some really cool things, and Shane's going to say.
Well, this is Pikes Peak, which is one of the highest points in the continental United States. We took some personal time to go up there since we were so close to, get these wonderful experiences that we wouldn't have any chance of getting if GLOW wasn't a thing. And it was way up there. I mean, 14,000 feet, that's way up there. And you can see the snow in the far picture. I mean, that's well over 12 foot. And I mean, we were up there in the middle of May, and it was snowing, and it's just, we would have never had this experience without this whole organization
and
being around.
It was crazy, because I had just come from like 7-on-7 tournament, and then I'm going up in Colorado, and there's like 14 foot snow on a mountain. And it's just weird because it was 90 degrees like 2 days before. But it's great the experiences that GLOW gives us, because not only do we get to meet people that we never thought we would meet before, but we also get to go to some pretty amazing places. I'm pretty sure one of the kids said they had never seen snow before. Is that right? Yeah, one of the kids had never seen snow before, but thanks to the Globe and the Globe research they got to go to places where they could see stuff like that. And so we also went to the national conference, and that was held at Yale. And before then, we went to since Seattle is so close to New York, we spent a week in New York, and Shane's going to say a little more about that.
So, yes, we went to New York, and it is just crazy. There's so many people, there's so much stuff around. We went to the Statue of Liberty, we went to the 9/11 Museum, and all the museums around, and then we went to watch a play, the Phantom of the Opera, and then, I mean, it's just, you look around and there's so many people and so much stuff, it's crazy.
And it's really cool, because so many kids around here in East Texas, they don't get to experience much of just this little like area of the woods, our neck of the woods and everything. And so getting to experience some like drastically different place like New York City, and just getting to explore the city itself, and was truly an amazing experience. Phantom of the Opera, for the kids from Hawkins, they're all in One Act Play, and they love it, and they are obsessed with Phantom of the Opera. And it was really funny getting to go watch them, and how excited they were to get to see it in actual Broadway. And so then we went to Connecticut itself, and did some really cool hands-on research there. And
these are some pictures from an island in the Sound of
Long Island Sound.
Long Island Sound. We got to go here with some NASA scientists to do some tests, and it was so fun. We went with a scientist that specialized in atmospheric stuff, so we got to learn all about the clouds and the pressures and all this stuff. We went fishing to see how many different kind of species were right there. Yeah, it was just a giant net, got to drag through the water a few times. That was fun. We went and we studied all the different kinds of crabs that were just along the shore with you could flip over a rock and there'd be 6 or 7 and they'd spring away and try to catch them. We tested water, a lot of stuff we could compare from our water. It was really fun.
And it was a really good experience because, as you can see from this photo, you have people from like all over the world. In these national conferences, they bring people usually from like the Arabian Peninsula. You have people from Croatia and many parts of Europe, and then you have France. You have a bunch of Southeastern Asian people, and it's just like really cool because you're always told about how these people are so different from you and how you can't get along with them and everything, and it's just really nice getting to like meet them, and it's like, okay, we're not that different. This person's really cool, I like them, and it's just really interesting just to like mesh cultures together and meet them. And so you can see in the top two photos, we did get to take a little bit of a campus tour of Yale. We didn't actually get a tour, but we walked around. It was cool. And so this next May, we are going to the next regional conference. We have been given a grant by the National Science Foundation. It will be held in Boulder, Colorado, and there will be presenting at the University of Colorado at Boulder. And this summer, we are trying to go to the international conference, which is going to be held in Ireland. And the last one, my mother actually got to go, and they call them GLEs. And it was held in India. And so it was really cool because you get to see some pretty amazing things and make some amazing connections with people. And our project has this thing called an international collaboration. And so we're testing stuff here, but we also have people testing in Nigeria, in Israel, in Croatia, in India as well. And so it's really cool because we wouldn't be able to do that without these connections that Globe gives us. We wouldn't be able to even meet these people otherwise, maybe with Facebook, but nothing like in person. And so the experiences that you have with Globe, the connections you make, and just like the international ramifications are truly amazing. And so when you're at these GLEs, you always get to go to some unique part of its the area's ecosystem, and you can do some on-field and on-hand research there. These are some photos of some of the kids from India after the Hawkins group left 3 years ago, and they did a project. They actually also made a documentary about what they had done. It was 3 minutes long. They submitted it to the White House Film Festival, and they got to meet the president, which was an awesome thing, and we hope to kind of follow in their footsteps as well. We are getting in touch with Louis Gilmer and some other representatives that we have, and just basically to see if there's any kind of a way that they can make an impact on the international governments of other places, and just when we tell them about our project and we can bring things to their knowledge, if they can help spread the knowledge to other places that we necessarily can't, like India and stuff like that, because we should get it on that more influential area. Because the goal of our project isn't necessarily to meet people, to go places, to do things. It's to make a long-lasting impact on the world and just make sure that people don't die of diseases that really shouldn't be there. So we're hoping this summer, to go to Killarney, Ireland, which is where the GLE is held, and we will be hopefully flying into Dublin and having some amazing once-in-a-lifetime experiences there, and continuing making connections and furthering our research. So we thank you for the time you gave us, and hope you have a wonderful day.
Let me ask you a question.
Oh, we have questions.
Do I understand that you guys do this outside of school?
Yes, sir.
I'm impressed. My son teaches at Harmony, and he tells me that every student out there has 6 projects that they're working on, and they don't have a spare minute to spare. So congratulations, guys. You're terrific. Good job.
Y'all are working with contaminated water. What safety precautions do you guys take for yourselves?
So we always, we have like chemicals that we wash our hands off with, and we usually use gloves, and in the times that we don't, we just make sure that we're clean afterwards. The stuff that we're like testing, I didn't stress it enough, it's extremely, extremely rare to catch anything from this, and especially in our area. But in places like India, where there are so many people and there are so many chances, it almost becomes inevitable.
So the one thing that they were talking about, the paddles that they test with, they just dip them into the water. They're not actually supposed to be submerged into the water. And so,
But on the occasion that you do get some.
yes. I said next time, guys, if you no, there's a bank like that, like, let's hold hands, let's do something, because surely Shane could have helped back you up. And anyways, so yeah.
Go
So
in
that one
pick-
is just, it's like a dip
Go in
process.
a pickup, so he can ride in the back.
Yeah, well, we strapped.
Speak up there, yeah, strap to the
We
top.
rolled down the windows on the way home, let me tell you.
You've done testing of water. How does East Texas water compare to others?
So when we first set out, we were like, hey, East Texas, it's amazing, it's perfectly clean and everything. And we kind of thought it was going to be like our control. It was going to be basically like tap water in the wild, but it's definitely not. Holly Lake, we don't have a picture of it, but it is at the bottom of its watershed. And the watershed is covered by 80 to 90% hayfields. And so a bunch of agricultural productivity there. It's not like Holly Lake's gonna kill you, but it's not as clean as you think. And so you should always, whenever you go in water anywhere, no matter how clean you think it is, make sure that afterwards you clean your, like, every part of yourself and make sure that you're not like drinking the water or anything like that. Because although it looks clear, you think it's clean, there's always the chance, and it's something you don't want to catch.
But tell them about the Tyler area.
Oh, so Tyler area, just outside of the water treatment plant, we had some really bad test results there, and it wasn't just because of the water treatment plant, because we tested two sites, one that was downstream from it and one that was upstream, that wouldn't be affected by the water treatment plant, and they both had almost similar results. So we believe that it's actually, rather than being from the water treatment plant, that it's from the agricultural activity in the area. And so a lot of runoff can affect that, and especially when you're in an area that's in the bottom of a watershed, it will most likely have the worst test results in an area just like Holly Lake. So.
Tell them about Brandon's.
Yeah, the spring.
Oh, so we have another member, Brandon McNeil, and he doesn't live in Holly Lake. He lives on a chicken farm, and he actually lives at the top of a watershed, and his farm is right on top of the Ozarka Springs. And so I know, wasn't Ozarka trying to buy their land at one point to tap some water in their area? And so we're going to report that their springs were perfectly clean as soon as it came out, but as soon as it came down like less than a mile, it was slightly affected by his chicken farm, but not to the level that it was in Tyler or in Holly Lake. So there you have it.
Where was the cleanest water?
The cleanest water was,
Spring.
it was the spring. It was the spring, the Ozarka Spring. So it's not like anything underneath the water. Underneath the ground is affecting its all surface contamination.
Did you check all the lakes in the area?
No, ma'am. We have not had time to check all the lakes, but we hope with our future endeavors and our future testing that we can expand to not just like all over the world, but also bring in some more domestic groups to help like test all over Texas, all over. Maybe someday we could have everywhere tested, but to this point we only have our certain test locations done.
That's another thing, that we're all sophomores, so we still have 2 more years to finish this, our whole project.
Lake
We're
Fork.
really excited to get to do this for a couple more years.
Very good. Any other questions?
Very good, guys.